You filled up your gas tank recently and noticed the price went up again. But here's the thing. The reason might be thousands of miles away in the Middle East. Right now, a war between the US, Israel, and Iran is quietly hitting your wallet, at the pump, at the grocery store, and even inside your retirement account. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what's happening, why it matters to you as an American, and what you can do to protect yourself financially. Let's get into it. On February 28th, 2026, the United States and Israel launched military strikes against Iran, and almost immediately, global oil markets went into shock. Here's why that matters. Iran sits on top of 9% of the world's proven oil reserves. And right next to Iran is a tiny stretch of water called the Strait of Hormuz. Think of the Strait of Hormuz like a highway, except this highway carries 20% of the world's entire oil supply every single day. When that highway gets disrupted, or even threatened, oil prices spike fast. And that's exactly what happened. Within days of the strikes, oil prices surged from around $70 a barrel to nearly $120 a barrel, one of the biggest jumps in history. Let's talk about what this means for you right now. Before the war started, the national average gas price was around $3 per gallon. Today, it's already hit $3.50 per gallon, and experts warn it could go higher. Here's the brutal math. If oil stays near $100 a barrel, economists at Goldman Sachs say we could see $4 to $5 gas across the country this summer. And it's not just your car. Higher oil prices mean more expensive airline tickets, higher shipping costs, which makes everything in stores more expensive, and more expensive heating and electricity bills. One economist from Moody's put it simply, consumers are about to get hammered. Remember when inflation was finally starting to come down? In January 2026, inflation was at 2.4%, getting close to the Fed's 2% target. People were feeling better. Then the war started. Here's the problem with oil-driven inflation. It's fast. Unlike tariffs, which take months to filter through the economy, oil prices hit your wallet within days. And this puts the Federal Reserve in a really tough spot. The Fed's job is to keep prices stable. When inflation goes up, they usually raise interest rates. But right now, the economy is already slowing down. Unemployment just ticked up to 4.4% in February. So, do they raise rates to fight inflation or cut rates to help the economy? Economists are comparing this to the 1970s, when the last big Middle East oil crisis caused stagflation, high inflation, and a weak economy at the same time. That's the worst of both worlds. Now, let's talk about your money, stocks, savings, and retirement. When oil prices spike and inflation fears rise, markets get nervous. Since the war began, stocks have dropped significantly. Energy stocks are the exception. They've actually gone up because higher oil prices mean higher profits for oil companies. If you're invested in broad index funds, you've likely already seen some losses. The key question is, how long does this last? If the conflict resolves quickly and oil drops back to $70 to $80 a barrel, most economists believe markets will recover. But if the Strait of Hormuz stays blocked for weeks or months, the damage could be much deeper. Here's one most people miss. The yield on the 10-year Treasury bond has already gone up since the war started. Why does that matter? Because mortgage rates follow that yield. If you're thinking about buying a home or refinancing, this war just made that more expensive too. And there's one more thing. Analysts at Evercore ISI calculated that if oil stays near $100 a barrel, the gas price increases will completely wipe out the benefits of Trump's 2025 tax cuts for most Americans. Only the top 30% of earners would still come out ahead. Okay, so what's the smart move right now? First, don't panic, but do pay attention. Markets hate uncertainty, but history shows that most oil shocks, even major ones, are eventually absorbed by the economy. The key word is eventually. Second, look at energy stocks. When oil prices rise, companies like ExxonMobil, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips tend to do well. Some investors use energy stocks as a hedge against high gas prices. Third, consider I bonds or TIPS. These are inflation-protected investments offered by the U.S. Treasury. When inflation goes up, their value goes up too. Fourth, lock in fixed rates where you can. If you have a variable rate loan or are shopping for a mortgage, this may be a good time to consider locking in a fixed rate before the Fed potentially raises rates. Fifth, build a small buffer in your budget. With gas prices rising and grocery costs likely to follow, financial planners recommend having a 10 to 15% buffer in your monthly budget for energy-related expenses. Here's the bottom line. A war thousands of miles away is already changing your daily life, from the gas station to the grocery store to your investment portfolio. Nobody knows exactly how long this will last or how bad it will get, but understanding what's happening is the first step to protecting yourself. If this video helped you understand the situation, hit that like button and subscribe, because we break down complex economic news into plain English every week. And drop a comment below. Are you already feeling the impact at the gas pump? See you in the next one.